The Constitution of the United States says that interstate commerce should be regulated by the federal government and not state liquor authority. They are certainly making it more and more difficult to do business in the state of New York.
Empire Wine is a hugely popular wine warehouse. They also do an online business as well, and they're now in hot water with the State Liquor Authority. We're joined by WGY legal analyst Paul Harding of Martin Harding & Mazzotti. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Chuck.
Hey, Paul.
So what's going on here? This is a kind of a tricky business to be in. There are certain states you can sell wine to and certain states you can't.
It's true. Here's the issue here. We've got this internet, right? We're selling things on the internet, and the rules are always a little bit gray. But we don't have a rule in New York that prohibits Empire Wine or any wine seller to sell the wine out of state. So it's not a situation where they're told when they get their license you can't sell out of state. But what you do have is other states that don't allow wine to be imported into their state and sold. So they're kind of telling Empire Wine, you can't do this because you're sort of violating sort of an ethical code we have here in New York State, because you're potentially violating a rule in another state. So gray area, they're telling them to stop. Empire's kind of just saying, we're going to see what the courts say about this.
So you think the Empire Wine does have a legitimate claim here, perhaps?
They absolutely do, but they're attacking it on three levels. One is that the state liquor authority doesn't have jurisdiction, and I think they probably do. But they have this catch-all phrase that basically says that they need to have proper conduct and character. I mean, one of those catch-all general phrases that state liquor authority has over everyone they've issued a license to, and then they're saying it's unconstitutionally vague. I think the real issue is that this is happening all over the place. I mean, all these wine stores are selling wine around the country. It's one of these laws that are just not enforced. I guess to some extent, the analogous in the marijuana. That the federal government said we're not going to enforce these rules. But State Liquor Authority here took the big boy, because Empire Wine, they're a huge facility, as most of us probably know, on the Northway Mall, and they're kind of drawing the line in the sand, and everyone around the state is going to be watching this lawsuit who sells wine.
Well, I mean, I've ordered quite a bit of wine online before. So I know that they do have websites will say, we will not ship to states X, Y, and Z. I mean, we happen to live in a state that we allow wine deliveries, but if you live in one of those other states, they won't even allow you to fill out the form.
Yeah, there's definitely that the rules in those states say that they can't do it. But as a general proposition, what I'm told is that it's pretty readily done, and there are more responsible, I guess, approaches than what you're describing. But I guess even some of those sites that say that they won't do it, they find different ways around it. But what are we talking about here? We're talking about revenue that the states are not getting. Is why that the rules are set up. And I guess it's so prevalent. I mean, they talked about 11,000 shipments that Empire did. And although Empire is a big facility around here, there are bigger facilities just west of us, in Syracuse and Buffalo, and by all accounts that they're doing it also. So, that's the rule that generally has not been enforced. They're attempting to enforce it, and Empire's pushing back and saying, hey, we want clarification. If you're right, we'll stop. If you're not right, the door's going to swing open.
So do you see a further clarification of this law moving forward, and what do you think will happen?
Yeah, I think they're going to do. It's Article 78, which is the proceeding that you have to start when you're going against an agency. And the Supreme Court is going to be looking at this, New York Supreme Court, and they're going to come up with some clarification, whether there's unconstitutionally vague, whether or not there is some ground to stand on. I think that probably Empire, isn't going to necessarily win this, but I think that the State Liquor Authority is going to take a hard look at the rule, and maybe the legislature also.
Well, New York's supposed to be open for business, so that'd be a nice thing.
That's the word, right?
WGY legal analyst Paul Harding of Martin Harding & Mazzotti, 1-800-LAW-1010. Paul, thank you so much.
Okay, guys, thank you.
Take care.